O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia mountains. CVA presents Realtree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Welcome, everyone. This is O'Neill, directly from Three Falls Cabin and the Bojangles Studio high in the mountains of North Georgia. And I'm repeating myself, welcome to the program. We have a busy Saturday morning, concluding at about 6 o'clock. I hope you'll find time to join us. We'll have the Medal of Honor tribute in the second hour. We'll have an opportunity right now to tell you about our podcast, which you can listen at Google and iTunes and SoundCloud and Apple and on and on and on. You can watch the show live this morning and throughout the week on Facebook at O'Neill Outside. And I point you to a couple of things on the website at o'neilloutside.com. You may purchase, I'm trying to sell you something. You may purchase O'Neill Outside, People and Places Along the Way. It's my first book, and I urge you to recall this is not John Steinbeck, it's not Hemingway, it's just O'Neill with a few conversations, and I hope you'll enjoy them. If you buy them off of the website, which you go right through there, I'll sign the book and personalize it for you. It's very inexpensive. So, lastly then, too, we're about to fill up on the Alaskan cruise. If you visit o'neilloutside.com, the home page, scroll to the bottom of the home page, and there you will see a photo of the Princess Cruise Lines. We are next summer, the June of 2020. Gail and I and a group of friends and people who listen to the radio show and watch the television show, we will be going to Alaska. We'll fly to Seattle and take the inland waterway, the Lynn Canal. We're not going to go out in the ocean. And we will visit Alaska. And I can tell you I've done that cruise on 2 different occasions, and it is the best cruise I've ever taken by far. That cruise line, that ship, if you will, was manufactured and designed for that cruise. Book it now. You can change later. Book it now, and you'll be able to get a balcony room, and we'll talk fishing all week. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, and we'll be back after this first break. We've got lots to talk about. This radio program visits quite a number of states at AM, 95.5 WSB. They changed all that. AM 750 on the AM dial. You can get us all over the country. And at the SB Nation, Sports Broadcast Nation, from Seattle to LA and including Dallas, Texas. So let's do that. Let's talk to Mike. He's calling from Dallas, Texas on O'Neill Outside. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, O'Neill, can you hear me?
I certainly can. Welcome to the program. Good to hear from you.
I'm on my AirPods.
Okay, good.
In the city, I got my AirPods. You know why I got them?
How? Where?
Your fishing tips.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad.
A lot of people were throwing old Christmas trees with weights tied on them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably about a year or two ago, about a year and a half. You said, well, that's one way to do it, but you said those old trees would let out a lot of oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, your suggestion, and it worked.
Well, good. I'm glad. Every once in a while, I'll stumble on something good.
Well, for your listeners that weren't listening a year or two ago,
Mm-hmm.
you said get the dog food in a burlap sack and put a weight at the bottom and tie it up and throw it out there, and that would get a lot of action going, a lot of fish going. Right?
Oh, yeah. And now, did you tie a rope to it, to the dock, or to
so
it?
that you can bring it back, yeah.
Yeah, so because you got to get it out of there, evidently, from time to time. And refill
I don't know about the way y'all fish over there in Arkansas.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that worked for you.
But O'Neill.
Yes.
And I also tried to call in y'all's Valentine's Day show.
Mm-hmm.
And you and your wife, I guess y'all have been together so long, and everyone. Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. We've been married for 54 years.
What's your wife's name?
Gail Williams. Her name is Gail
yeah.
Williams. Her name was Williams before we got married. We were together in the 6th grade and all through high school, but we were acquaintances but not friends. And when I went to college, I had a fraternity brother that saw a photo of her in my annual and said, hey, I want to go out with her. And so I called her in his behalf. He said, and she said that she didn't go out on blind dates. We were both 18 years old. But she would love to go out with me. Well, no, she really didn't say that. But
you specifically, or you, any guy?
She didn't go on blind dates with anyone. But so
where'd she see you at church or out in the community?
Well, she remembered me from high school. And so when I called her back, I said, hey, let's you and I, let's go out. And that was the last date I ever had with anybody else, and the same thing with her. And we were 18 years old at the time. So that was almost 60 years ago. Is that right? No, 58 years ago. How about that?
Well, is Gail there? I remember her back in that episode where y'all were talking about the Sasquatches.
Yeah, she gets a big kick out of telling people that she believes in Sasquatch.
I don't think that's about the kick. I think she really believes it.
Oh, she believes in Sasquatch. I personally do not. But
you call him the Yeti.
Yeah, but yeah, Yeti. But in any case, she does. I don't. But until somebody proves it to me.
O'Neill.
Yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting you.
All right.
But I don't know if your producer is going to have me much longer if I don't get to the point.
All right, go.
So the point is, here I am living my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes I'm calling into O'Neill on the outside, at 3 in the morning. But, okay, I had given up. And if we instead of saying woman, we'll just say it's the big fish that you never caught, right?
Right.
So here's this woman that the first time I'd ever fallen in love, it was with her. And don't tell her that.
I won't.
But the first time that I ever thought about it was with her.
Oh, my goodness.
Uh-oh. Okay.
She'll be flattered.
So then, things come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And back in y'all's day, people just fell in love. But nowadays, if someone wants to break up with you, they break up with you on Instagram, break up with you on MySpace, on Twitter, on Facebook. They let you know 3 or 4 times that they don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
So I had forgotten about her. And then tonight, here she was.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay?
Okay.
And she says, my name, and she says, I thought I would never see you.
Oh, well, you have another opportunity. I'll tell you what you do, all right? take her fishing. She'll never forget you. I got to go, pal. I'm glad you called. All right, there you are. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. I'm for the sake of the listeners that are up early morning like this, let me, as I do a little facial maintenance, I'm going to go into something here so that you can have the proper intelligent defense for all these knuckleheads about global warming. All right, bear with me a minute, listen, and then research it. 2.8 million years ago began an ice age on Earth. And after each ice age, there were 6 of them. Between each ice age, when I talk about an ice age, I'm talking about when glaciers were all the way down to Illinois, Ohio. They covered Seattle, Chicago, New York, half of the earth. Between each one of those, it warmed up like this. It happened 6 times. The last time it happened was the end of the Pleistocene era. It's been 11,700 years ago since we had the last ice age, and it warmed up 6 times in between each one. And during none of those warming periods in which the glaciers retreated all the way to the Arctic, during none of those periods did we have a single power plant, a single car, a single airplane, a single coal-fired power plant, nothing. The earth just warmed up. It will get cold again. We won't see it. It will warm up again. It's the natural cycle. And whether we have all these CO2 generating sources or not, it will not matter. If you listen, do some research. If you listen to Al Gore, the Earth should be flooded by now and the Arctic ice pack gone. He, Al Gore, is a complete knucklehead. Now, if you remember that and do some research and find out about the Pleistocene era, you will have the proper response when these liberal, uninformed knuckleheads talk about global warming and all that we're going to do to solve it. I'll be back after this break. You got it.
Well, way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets.
I love that Zac Brown music, don't you? It's one of my absolute favorites. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world. And we appreciate that you are doing so. You can watch us on Facebook now, live, and throughout the week. The telephone numbers are, should you like to join us, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. And before we get too far away from the subject, let's go ahead and talk to Jason. He's calling from Marietta, Georgia on O'Neill Outside. Welcome, Jason.
Good morning, O'Neill. How are you, bud?
Lovely.
That's awesome. On the subject of climate change,
yes.
I don't want to get too much into it, but I do find it funny when people like Leonardo DiCaprio, they do their documentaries about how we're killing the planet. Meanwhile, he's cruising around the world in a mega yacht. His Challenger jet that he flies around in burns more fuel than I would burn in my Honda Civic going to Apalachicola and back just on takeoff.
That's right.
It is what it is. Down in Miami, it floods in Miami. It really does, because the ocean's warming up. Whether
Sure it is.
whoever caused it is irrelevant. But it's just one of those things. But,
Well, during,
but
I'll expand a little bit that during the Pleistocene era, which was 11,700 years ago, when the glaciers came all the way down to Illinois, Ohio, covered northern parts of Kentucky and all of Seattle, Chicago, and New York, the oceans were 300 feet more shallow than now.
yeah.
Because the fresh water was in the ice. It hardly ever rained. And all of that changed, and there wasn't a single pickup truck on Earth.
Right.
So, all this is just political liberalism.
It's pandering.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, I got to run. I just wanted to holler at you for a second. I know that last caller is going to be a tough act to follow.
Well, yeah, I know. That's right.
Have a good one, bud. Be sure and get out there in the woods at some point.
It won't be long, pal. I'll see you soon.
All right, brother.
All right, there you go. There you are. Well, yes, indeed. All right, enough of that. 427. Now, at o'neilloutside.com, right there in the middle of the homepage, you'll see the guest book, where you can write to O'Neill with comments, questions, suggestions, and we have a great big radio prize package which we will send to you. You can visit o'neilloutside.com, go to the guest book, leave your comments. Oh, before I do that, well, I'll do that in a minute. All right, so here's some from this week. A fellow by the name of Rick Waters from Raleigh, North Carolina. He says, I saw your show while watching TV at a bar. It's a good place. I went to YouTube and caught up on the rest of the show, and we will be a loyal watcher from now on. I now feel more confident in my hunting season. It's been a while since I've felt that way. You know something, Mick Waters, you're right. The more you know, the more you understand, the more enjoyable it can be if you are a fisherman, hunter, camper, hiker, whatever it is in the outdoors. If you recognize bird calls, if you understand the physical habits of squirrels and bears and coyotes, you will enjoy it more. From Frankie McNally in Mineral, Virginia. I have diligently taught my grandchildren what guns can do. Respect for the firearm and, more importantly, gun safety. She's already a great shot with a handgun. What is the best gun for a 14-year-old girl so she doesn't immediately get put off with a bad kick? I'll introduce her to a more powerful gun later. Very well thought out, Frankie. And start out with a centerfire 223 caliber. A 223. The kick is light, but she will get used to that kick, not in the woods, but at the range. And she will have confidence and know what that kick can be. And you can make the necessary changes with the pad, with the padding for her and the rifle, and reduce that kick considerably. You're on your way, and I congratulate you. It's 30 minutes after the hour. Let's see if I've got time. From Michael Summers somewhere in Ohio. When skinning your deer, should you remove the tarsal glands first? Do they affect the taste at all? I understand that they do, and I do remove the tarsal glands first, and then I wash my hands, put on fresh gloves, and I wash the knife. That's some powerful stuff. John Myers in Homer, Georgia. Why does Georgia have 3 different opening days of deer season? What is the benefit for the wildlife? I always enjoy your DNR shows. The rifle, the archery, the primitive weapon seasons are all set according to the rut and the rutting period that takes place wherever in the site. So, okay. The trouble is, you see, Georgia was stocked with deer from 3 or 4 different locations, and these deer had genetically different rutting periods. So the seasons are staged according to the rutting periods. I mean, for instance, you wouldn't have a deer season to begin in July. You would be very unsuccessful. But on the Georgia coast, you can start in October. In central Georgia, it would be November, from September to November and through to the end of the year. And in the northern part of Georgia, it would be in the mountains, it would be December. And that happens in lots of states, and it's never going to change. 32 after the hour. Am I all right with this? I believe I am. Here's a note from David Harting in Perry, Georgia. I enjoy your show. It teaches us the basics of hunting. The basics will always work. You are correct. You stick to the basics over the long term, you'll be more successful. Some of the newfangled stuff and techniques are overrated. No other shows do that anymore. It's almost about shooting the biggest and catching the biggest. You are all about the outdoors. I respect that. Thank you very much. I will accept your compliment. And again, on my television show, and this show, this radio program in which we discuss, it's not about shooting the biggest. It's not about taking the biggest. After all, after you pull the trigger, the hunt's over. Okay? It's about knowing what you're doing and making the best of it. I would tell you that it's probably been 6 or 8 years since I took a buck. I shoot does. The does taste a great deal better. 33 after the hour. Marvin Brooks from Watermill, New York. I want to teach my granddaughter how to shoot. During her lessons, after gun safety, of course, I plan to give her shooting tips. Do you recommend a starting out with or without a scope? Shouldn't I teach her to use her iron sights first? Good idea. You will be more familiar with the gun without the scope. But you can apply the scope, and then it really gets to be high-tech and more productive. If you anticipate the shot to be a short one, then open sights is just fine. Otherwise, you need to go to a scope. See if I can get this one. Dale Brown, Goodwater, Alabama. Can some of your big green egg recipes be cooked on a regular grill? Absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't have a big green egg, but want to try some of the recipes. Here's the key to me on your other grill besides a big green egg. And that is, don't use charcoal briquettes. It's full of glue and sawdust. And certainly don't use natural lighting briquettes, and don't use a lighter fluid. All of that gets into the meat. Use natural charcoal and natural, just use a piece of newspaper. That's how you start the grill. Or some kind of a natural lighter to start the grill. Please don't use briquettes. Please don't use natural lighting charcoal. Use natural charcoal, no briquettes. Okay, let's see if I got to go now. Yeah, I got to go. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside, 404-872-0750, or all across the country at 800-972-8255. I'd love to hear from you. The deer season's on the way. Are you hunting yet? Well, you might be hunting with archery gear or primitive weapon season, but you can hunt without a rifle and without a bow. And you can prepare for that without a rifle and without a bow. You prepare your archery and gun seasons on the range. prepared to hunt the deer without a rifle. Deer will do the same things over and over and over again. And we'll talk more about that. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, and we'll have a list of sponsors and more outdoors when we get back. What do you say? Welcome back. Let's get something away. I have one of my favorite restaurants here in the North Georgia area near Jasper is Rocco's Pub. Fabulous wings, burgers, steaks, salads, terrific appetizers, and so forth. And I'm going to give away a $25 gift card to the first caller from Jasper or Cartersville, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, maybe even Dawsonville, Waleska. Telephone the program. The first caller from the area that would use the card at 404-872-0750, 404-872-0750. Then I'll send to you the $25 Rocco's gift card, and maybe we'll see you there. I know when we go to Rocco's, Gail orders the appetizers. Deep-fried mushrooms, pickles, deep-fried pickles, that is. French fries are outstanding. I order wings, medium. I don't eat hot wings. Okay, 41 after the hour, so make that call, if you will, and I'll give you the gift card. But you got to be local, you know what I mean? I'm not going to give a card to somebody who lives in New York because you never will use it. Okay, let's go back to, just for a moment, for demonstrative purposes, let's go back to the mailbag. Remember, the mailbag is at o'neilloutside.com, the guest book. Leave your comment, and we send a giant prize package to one of the callers, one of the people who submit. They said, from Sean Macy in Loxahatchee, Florida. Do you carry a backup firearm while primitive hunting? Since it takes a little time to reload a muzzleloader, I feel better carrying one with me for an emergency. We have hogs on our land lease, and I don't want to take a chance with them. What are your thoughts? I also carry a handgun, but it's a legal handgun for deer hunting. It's big enough that I can carry it even for deer hunting. But yes, hog hunting, I always carry a sidearm because you shoot a hog and he looks dead and he's not. I'll tell you a story. This would have been better. My cameraman and I, Jeff Allagood, we were hunting hogs over in along the Savannah River, in the swamps of the Savannah River. It's an old tomato plantation with berms and everything. So we had the hogs located. And the hogs came in. Jeff is behind me. I sneak up behind a tree close by, and I'm using a CVA 50 caliber muzzleloader. I shoot the boar. If I'm confident enough, close enough, and I'm confident enough in the muzzleloader, I shoot the hog in the brain. Because I'm not a good tracker, and I didn't want to track a hog through that swamp. So I shoot the hog in the brain. He falls dead. I go up, we close the show, pull the hog out of the way, and say, I'll bet if we stick around here a little bit longer, I'll bet you another sounder of hogs will come into this area, because it was a feeding area, I'll admit to you, okay? So, sure enough, we wait about 45 minutes, and this is the sort of thing that's in the book that you should buy at o'neilloutside.com. So we wait. Here comes another family of hogs. I do the same thing, leave Jeff behind a log behind me. I sneak up tree to tree, and I shoot the hog in the head again, except in the brain. Except I missed. The hog was down, but the hog was not dead. And quite frankly, even though I'm a hunter, I am an animal lover, and this hog is sitting there, and he can't go anywhere, but he's been shot in the head, and he needs to be exterminated. That day, I did not have a firearm with me. I did not have my pistol with me. That was a mistake. So, I reloaded the muzzleloader. And unless you have it on tape, you must realize that when you're shooting a 50 caliber muzzleloader at something that a channel of fire comes out of that muzzleloader about 3 feet long. But you don't think, it's so instant, you don't think about that when you're using it. And so I reloaded the muzzleloader and shot the pig again. The trouble was that big long channel of fire that came out of the muzzleloader set the pig on fire. I haven't told that story much. I'm a little bit embarrassed by it, but I thought you might enjoy it. But both pigs were dressed and offered and accepted by a local family. They were already designated prior to the hunt because we knew we were going to get something. Okay, here's, we've got the Rocco's dinner. It's 45 after on O'Neill Outside. And let's chat now with Lori from White, Georgia. Good morning, Lori. This is O'Neill. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, O'Neill. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. Have you been to Rocco's before?
Oh, I have.
Oh, yeah. Rocco's has a loyal audience. And
Absolutely.
loyal customers. What's your favorite dish at Rocco's? What do you get?
Oh, we do the wings and the cold beer.
There you are. That's a worthwhile combination. Give us a few days to get it to you. I presume we already have your address.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in the next few days, you'll get a $25 gift card from Rocco's. And when you're there, look up Rocco. He's usually there. And tell him I said hello, and we'll probably see you there.
Awesome. I would love it. Thank you so much.
You bet.
You have a great day.
You too. Have a great weekend. There we are. That's good. Now, Lori got to go to Rocco's and own Rocco. I didn't pay for this gift card. Rocco did. So we'll thank Rocco for that. It's my obligation and my pleasure at 4:47 after the hour, after being so delayed fulfill this morning, that this program is brought to you every Saturday morning by Realtree Camo, Tough Shed, Stripling's General Store. I got to go to Stripling's. I'm out of steaks. Whitetail Institute, Wild Game Food Plot Seeds, Arctic Ice. Once you use Arctic Ice, you won't use other ice again. CVA Muzzleloaders, The Furminator, Food Plot Equipment. It'll make it easy. Quality Deer Management Association, Fisher's Choice Baits, Live Baits, and Pay Dirt. Snellville Heating and Air. It's time for a tune-up up here, I can tell you that. And Appalachian Gun and Range, a new sponsor. When you're going up 515, if you look for the pistol in the sky, that will be Appalachian Gun. I'm not sure if their 60-second spot will air this week, but it certainly will next week. You want friendly service, attractive pricing, a 25-yard range and a 50-yard range, and a complete stock of rifles, guns, and attractively priced ammo. Be sure and go to Appalachian Gun and Range. It's on 515, just south of Jasper. And maybe we might be a little bit late with her 60-second ad. This is my gun store and my range now. 404-872-0750, 800 972-8255. One of the SB Nation stations, the strongest, biggest, most powerful sports broadcast radio station in the country, is WEEI. Is that right? WEEI in Boston. Covers the whole northeastern part of the country. I'd love to get a call from somewhere in that area this morning at 800-972-8255. That's 800-WSB-TALK, T-A-L-K. It's not talk, T-A-U-K. It's talk. There's an L in there. Love to get a call from some WEEI in Boston. They cover the entire Northeast. I'd love to get a call from you guys up there because I'd love to see how you prepare for moose season up there in Maine and Vermont. Do you prepare for moose season differently than whitetails like we would here? I'll bet you do. So, all right, there you are. Let's see. Fall fishing. We're going to talk more about fishing in the second hour. We have lots to do then. We have the radio prize package and we have the Medal of Honor. So the second half of the show is usually pretty full because, and that's not a surprise because I'll tell you, there are 60 million men and women over 16 years old in the United States who, if you ask them, are you a fisherman? If you ask them, pardon me, don't ask them, you ask them, are you a fisherman? They will reply, yes. They may not have a license. They may not have been fishing in the last 5 or 6 years, but that it's thought of very well. On the hunting side, they're at the most 15 million hunters. So there's so many more fishermen than hunters, 4 times more fishermen than hunters. And quite frankly, hunting license sales are not keeping up with population. And that's part of the purpose of this program. I can tell you without hesitation, if you take a youngster deer hunting this year, he or she will remember that far longer in a positive way than spending the morning on their computer. Can you dig it? Invest in the future of hunting. After all, if there are no hunters, there will be no wildlife. PETA and the Fund for Animals and organizations of that nature contribute nothing to the maintenance of wildlife in this country. Who contributes to it? Hunters and sportsmen via excise taxes, licenses, fees, and permits. Without us, there will be no wildlife. Okay, O'Neill's getting rather serious this morning, isn't he? It's unbelievable. 52 after the hour. So I get that way sometimes. I can't help it. When I watch television from time to time, and I happen to watch the news, and I see that in New York City, students got out of school to protest global warming. You stupid bunch of uninformed idiots. You have nothing to do with it. Learn about it. Oh, all right, I'm not going to say any more. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. We've got to go to a break here in just a moment. Then we will entertain more of your calls, and then we will begin the second hour of O'Neill Outside. This lasts 2 hours every Saturday morning. And I do appreciate you listening and joining us. And you can watch the show live on Facebook, and you can watch it during the week as it is repeated on Facebook. So, anyway, O'Neill's on the soapbox this morning, and I promise I'll get off the soapbox in the next hour. I couldn't help it. I woke up at 1 o'clock this morning thinking.
O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Welcome back, everyone. Another hour of outdoors headed your way via O'Neill Outside. This is Real Tree Radio this time of the year. Fully sponsored by, oh my goodness, where's that list? Well, let's see. I'll tell you later. 404-872-0750, 972-8255. I'm here to remind you that you can listen to this program on, watch this program on Facebook today, live and throughout the week. You can listen to this program on podcast at Waypoint TV, Apple, SoundCloud, iTunes, and on and on and on. And that and other podcasts. Let's see, what else? I'm getting ahead of myself here. So in this hour, this half hour, first of all, we will have the radio prize package where you can win something, and the Medal of Honor tribute, the outstanding portion of the program, if you will. And your calls, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. We've got a lot of calls now, and when I return after this first break, I will certainly get to those calls, each and every one of them. We're talking outdoors. We're learning about outdoors. We're refreshing ourselves with fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, spending time in the outdoors, the calls, the places, the colors, everything in the outdoors. And believe me, if you become well versed in the outdoors, it will last a lot longer than your high school sports. Not that that's a bad thing, but if you're an accomplished outdoorsman, it'll last a lifetime. If you're the starting quarterback for your high school, it's likely that you'll be done with that when you're 18 or less. I graduated from high school at 17. I don't know how I did that. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. O'Neill Outside Radio on the SB Nation, 95.5 WSB, and so many other places. And we'll be back. You're listening and watching O'Neill Outside. And we have a lot of calls. We're going to promise to get to every one of them. First of all, holding on the longest is Kevin, and he's somewhere in Texas. What do you say, Kevin? What do you got on your mind?
Hey, Bill, I appreciate you taking my call. It's refreshing to know that there's still an outdoor show that's live on the radio. Not very many out there nowadays, I guess.
Well, not very many. They're recorded, and I'm sure that a lot of those other radio shows are very good, but they are recorded. So welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. I got a question for you. I called in a few weeks ago. I don't know if you remember, but I'm lucky enough to get on a deer lease there in Texas, in the northwest part of Texas, near the where the Panhandle starts at. And I haven't deer hunted in over 20 years, so I'm really excited about it. And we're lucky enough to have a pocket of mule deer in that area, and I'm excited about that. I've only been mule deer hunting one time in my life out in West Texas near El Paso, and the way we hunted that time, we just went and posted up on a ridge somewhere until the sun came up, hoping to catch some bucks coming out of the wheat fields late. And other than that, we were pretty much glassing and spotting and stalking. I myself didn't see any bucks out of that run, so I didn't get anything. But anyway, on this lease we do have a pocket of mule deer that will pass through. From what the guy tells me that's been on the lease for the past 20 years, it seems like they pass through in November, which is good. The mule deer season in Texas is, I believe, the second 2 weeks of November.
Yes.
Second half of November, but this lease used to have wheat fields on it. Now it doesn't anymore. That was 10 years ago. So now it's it's bordered by a river on one side, and it does have wheat fields on another side that are on the lease next door. And it's got a canyon on it, a couple of canyons actually. One of the canyons does have a spring-fed pond that filters down into another big pond that has a couple of beavers in it. They keep it nice, but I haven't quite formulated a plan. I'm really wanting to focus on these mule deer during mule deer season. So I'm just wondering what do you think is going to be the best option, the best way to go about focusing on these mule deer on a lease like this, especially since I don't know that much about this lease.
Well, if you don't know much about the lease, that's going to be a difficult question to answer, but it sounds to me like you've pretty well got it figured out. You know, mule deer are not quite like whitetails in the fact that, quite frankly, the mule deer is almost a gentle animal. A whitetail is not. He's aggressive and he's a fighter. A mule deer, he will stick to his patterns better than a whitetail will. Even though his range is greater because he's usually out west, he has to cover more territory to find his mates, his does, but he will be very predictable, and your pre-scouting there will be dependable enough for you to bag a good one. And I quite frankly would rather hunt mule deer than whitetail, because they range more, they're up more. When they bed down, you can still see them. And so I think mule deer, and of course he's bigger, got a larger rack, which really doesn't make any difference to me. But he's a worthwhile quarry, and I envy your trip that you've got coming up. That sounds wonderful.
Well, my plan is, this one canyon that has a spring-fed pond in it. Nobody has a stand in or around this canyon. It's pretty unforgiving territory. So, and that also happens to be where some outback hang out as well.
Oh.
That's my understanding. So my plan is to that whole 2 weeks, as many times as I can get out there and hunt, to spend every waking minute in and around that canyon area. Sitting and glassing and spotting and stalking.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks during deer season. So that's the only thing I know to do this first season until I can get to know the lease a little bit better.
That you know, let's think about it for a second. Then I got to go. But think about what you just said about spotting and glassing and watching, and so that is so much more interesting than it is sitting in a deer stand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. And so you get to hunt mule deer all day. And I envy your trip.
Well, luckily, like I said, I looked into this. It's a year-round lease, so and they got it for 20 years. Hopefully, we'll have it for another 20 years.
Well, you're going to have to.
Thank you very much.
You're going to have to call me and let me know about what happens over there. I guarantee you. Thanks for calling, man. And let's see, we need to talk to, right now, he's been holding on quite a while. Let's talk to Wade. He's calling from Kentucky. Good morning, Wade.
Morning, O'Neill. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Where are you headed today, sir? What you doing?
I'm not ashamed to tell you, but I got a 3-hour-long choir practice for a special event we got coming up.
All right, okay, good for you. That'll keep you busy.
Yeah, we got some new songs going over, getting ready for a Chris program, having a little breakfast and then a cookout.
Good.
Hot dogs and all. We talked a little bit last week about snakes, copperheads.
Yes.
It come to me a little later on. I was going to tell everybody. My buddy George Pugh thought I was crazy. Horses got out and I had to go help him put the horses up.
Uh-huh.
I was in the back of the truck with some feed coming down the hill, O'Neill. Horses was following me. They got all of them but 2 back in there. I had to turn around and go back. Well, I'm in the back of the truck going back up there. I got a real strong smell of a cucumber, like a fresh cucumber.
Okay.
You know where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I was taught by my grandpa when I was about 8 years old. First time I ever seen a copperhead. We're doing something. He smelt one.
Oh.
He said, "Get back over here, Red." He never called me Wade. He always called me Boy or Red.
Mm-hmm.
"Get back over here, Red." I said, what's going on, Papa? He said, "I smell a cucumber." I go, "Okay, what's that mean?" "That means we've scared a copperhead. That's a distress signal he's putting off."
I'll be darned. I never heard that
He pulled in my
before.
leg. He just got me with a persimmon about an hour earlier. You know how the old men do that to young boys?
Yeah.
Well, here I am thinking he's going to scare me or sneak up. Sure enough, he moved a pallet that was laying out there by the barn that the hay set on.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Papa took the shovel to him.
Yeah.
But we were
That's,
talking about that last week. I've seen some pictures on Facebook. A lot of my friends seen them. One girl lifted the cover to her water lid, the meter in the front yard. There's 4 or 5 of them laying in there. A mama that looked like little ones.
Yep.
yeah,
I'll
be
have
careful out there in the
to.
woods.
I tell you what, Wade. I'm gonna look into that because I never heard that before.
Well, now George told me and George backed me up on this. He's probably listening right now. George had to walk back up that hill and told me to drive a truck real slow going down through there. Well, I got down. I mean, steep. It was only like a power line. He had access to get his horse from one field to the other. I'm halfway down through there, and I smelled it. And I told George, "George, you keep your eyes on the ground. There's a copperhead somewhere." "What are you talking about?"
Uh-huh.
I said, "I smell that cucumber. It's a distress signal." And it wasn't a few minutes. He come down the hill. He said, "You was right." He said, "What did you do?" He said, "I run over him. One of them stepped on him. He's about 4 foot long.
Ooh.
And he couldn't strike or he'd have got him."
That's
And
a
I just
huge
want to tell everybody, be
copperhead.
careful. Nobody ain't worth it.
And you betcha.
Bobby Parker got bit and woke up 4 days later in the hospital. Don't remember nothing but picking muscadines.
That's some of the worst days you'll ever spend in your life if you get bitten by a copperhead.
Well, I'd swear by it. I mean, I know it sounds out there, and I just having my first cup of coffee. That ain't bourbon in that glass.
All right, my good friend, I'm glad you called. Shall I put you back on hold or what?
Yeah, put me on hold. Is Walman Williams up this morning with you?
No, she's not, that lazy heifer.
Well, I sent you a text message. My nephew, Derek White, killed a monster.
Oh, boy.
Look him up on Facebook. Yeah, they killed him bigger than headed to Carabel. They're fishing again.
I'll look it up. I got to go, pal. This is O'Neill, Mac, and the rest of you guys, hold on. I promise I'll get to you. I promise. Welcome back. Before we get to the calls, it's my pleasure to tell you that this program is brought to you every Saturday morning by Realtree, Tough Shed, Striplings, Whitetail Institute, Arctic Ice, CVA, the Furminator, Quality Deer Management Association, Fisher's Choice Baits, Snellville Heating and Air, and now Appalachian Gun and Range in Jasper. And the holding on the longest is Joe Jefferson. Good morning, Joe from Jefferson. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing fine, O'Neill, and I really appreciate you taking my call.
Sure.
I want to let everybody know about 2 weeks ago, I took my second trip with Mac Jones.
Okay.
And we had a ball.
You mean Mac Farr?
Mac Farr, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Captain Mac, and it was one of the most enjoyable days that I've had in my life. I had went with him in the spring and did real well, and then I hadn't needed to learn a little more about summer fishing, and so we went with them, and the experience and the fish that we got was just fantastic.
Did you catch some big stripers?
I caught one about 8 pounds, and my buddy caught one about 6, and then we came back with a total of 14.
Oh boy!
Yeah, we had a real nice day.
That's good, and I do, and I know Mac does, and I'm going to tap in on him in just a moment with a call. But I know he appreciates you taking the time to call, and I'm not a bit surprised that you had such a wonderful day.
Yeah, anybody that wants to learn how to fish, period, or especially how to fish Lanier and where the fish are going and what they're doing, they need to go out and spend a day with Mac and just enjoy his company as well. And being on the lake and all that, that was worth the trip right there. But the experience in the fish was just wonderful.
Fantastic. I'm going to talk to Mac right now. We'll see if he confirms. Thanks for calling, Joe. I know Mac does. Mac does too. Now let's chat now with. Oh my goodness, what a coincidence, Mac Farr. What do you say?
Good morning, O'Neill.
Well, did you hear all that?
I did, and Joe, if you're still listening, good morning, and thank you very much. They were a great crew. He's, like you said, they wanted to get out there and catch fish and learn, and we tried to get them up to speed, and we had a really good day. Good guys. We just had a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
Hopefully we said some things and showed them some things where they can catch them on their own later on. So
Absolutely.
That was a good trip.
I'm not a bit surprised.
So, and fishing's still good, O'Neill. It's a little deceptive because if you go put your boat in water, at least up until today now and yesterday, water really cooled off dramatically the last 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, we were still in the 80s, well into the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And the fish are really responding more to the date on the calendar than they are the water temperatures. A lot of fall shallow water techniques kicking in that you might not pick up on if you're looking at the water temperature. So we've got a pretty good topwater bite. You can catch some stripers throwing the topwater over humps and brush, and you can catch some. There's a lot of schooling fish. They're incredibly sporadic, but if you're going out on the lake today, have something tied on to cast at these schoolers. And they may show up at any point, anywhere. They're incredibly random, but you don't have time if you see them to go start rigging up for them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's readily available, huh?
Yes, they're up and down really quickly. If you can get to them, they'll bite. But if you're fumbling around trying to tie on the lure, you're too late. And,
good point.
Small bucktails, small spoons, small swim baits. It's just a matter of getting to them. But in addition to that, the summer patterns that we've had in the last 12 weeks are still doing well. Still a lot of fish being caught on downline herring. Trolling bites off the chain. You control the mini-max are doing really well, and you control the big umbrellas over the main lake humps. That's a really good pattern. That's producing some really nice fish. That works better late in the days.
You
so
you put some great photos of the fishing trips on Facebook, so people can visit your Facebook page, can they not?
Absolutely, and we've got some short videos illustrating some of this. When you get a visual, it makes it a whole lot more it's complete, let's say that.
You bet. All right, Captain Mac Farr on Facebook and everywhere else.
Absolutely, and we're not fishing today, O'Neill. We're going to be at the grand opening of the Buford, Georgia Academy store. So we'll have the old Tidewater Baymax down there. If you're out and about or you're coming off the lake, we'll be there till 3 o'clock. Stop by, say hello, let's talk fishing.
Mighty fine. I wish I could be there. I'll see you soon, pal.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Catch them up. Be safe. Have fun.
You bet. Let's see. It's 30 minutes after the hour. We've got time for this. Who's up next? It's Alan calling from Tallahassee. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, O'Neill.
How's life in North Florida?
Hey, it's getting better. It's cooling down a little bit, but it's supposed to go back in the upper 90s by next week. But
okay.
I was calling to get on to you.
Go.
You got to quit watching that news now. I heard you in the first hour talking about them crazy kids up north.
I'm telling you.
You got to remember, them kids have never been fishing. They ain't never been hunting. Their parents ain't never done nothing to take them in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And the people they're listening to, once they kill off all the cows and chickens, they going to go hungry. Where we that teach our kids how to hunt and fish, how to grow gardens, well, they will always have something on the table.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I felt sorry for getting into that rant about global warming and the reasons why, and my feelings about that. But I'm not going to make any further comments except to say, look it up. It's really simple.
Well, that's one reason why this show is so needed throughout the country, and every person that listens to it, that's teaching their kids how to hunt and fish and how to enjoy the outdoors. Those people enjoy this earth better than anybody else that ever will be on any TV show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this show is a blessing that you talk about hunting and fishing, and just like you say about go out and sit in the woods and just be quiet.
Yes.
And listen to Mother Nature.
Yes.
That to me is more important than anything else.
Yes. Gail and I will usually quit working about 6 or 6:30 in the afternoon, and we have a little porch out back here, and it overlooks the woods. And we will sit there, and just about the same time every day, we will say, all right, let's stop talking and listen just for a moment. And then you'll hear the first barred owl off to the left. And then you'll hear the second barred owl off to the right. Then you'll hear the pileated woodpecker say goodnight to everybody. And it's fun.
Well, that's like me. First thing in the morning, I get up and I sit out there and I listen for that first cardinal to chirp.
Yep.
You know, because telling you that it's time to get up and morning's ready. But like I say, it's such a blessing to have a show like this that, and it's far out now that you reach, that helps these people learn how to hunt and fish, teach it on to our kids. Those are the ones who are really going to enjoy Mother Earth and not worry so much about this political crap. And, I mean, and also what I was calling, too, I know Miss Gill ain't been around on the show lately, I hope she's doing well.
Oh, she's
and
fine.
I know you're taking good,
she's fine.
Good care of her.
She's fine. She's just sleepy. All right, I got to go, pal. Thanks for calling,
right,
Alan.
I love you. I love you, buddy.
You bet. See you later, pal. This is O'Neill. Medal of Honor when we return. Uh-oh. No, I'm way early. I'm a knucklehead. I can't read the clock. It's 5:33, and I've got 3 more minutes, and I cut Alan off there, didn't I? Let's see who's up right here. Let's see. I can get to, well, I bet I know who that is, and we'll get to him in just a moment. This is O'Neill, and reminding you that you are watching O'Neill Outside on Facebook, if you choose to do so, at O'Neill Outside Facebook page. This show you can watch on Facebook throughout the week and on the Video on Demand networks really soon. On O'Neill Outside, the current season airs on Fox Sports Southeast 3 times a week, Fox Sports Sun throughout Florida, Fox Sports Arizona, the Hunt Channel, my goodness, what else? It's everywhere. Camo TV, the Camo Crusade, and, just look up O'Neill Outside. It's in there somewhere. 34 or 35 after the hour right now. I apologize for cutting him off so soon. I misread the clock. But, I got up at 1 o'clock this morning. I slept an hour and a half, so you got to give me a break, okay? 404-872-0750, or outside the Atlanta calling area, it's 800-972-8255. We all have something to look forward to. We should every day. Today, I'm going to go to Appalachian Gun Range, to the 50-yard range and the 25-yard range. Gail and I will. It's Gail who said, "Hey, we need to go to the range." And oh my goodness, have I skipped everything? Have I fouled everything up? No, I haven't. I'm so confused. I need some more sleep. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. This is almost comical, isn't it? I've only been doing this for 28 years. It would look like that I would be well enough versed to be able to follow the simple clock. But I can't from time to time. We'll duck out of here just a moment early. And when we return at 40 minutes after the hour, wherever it is that you live, Central or whatever, we will have the most treasured portion of our show, and it's called the Medal of Honor Tribute, in which we will read about a Medal of Honor recipient. This is O'Neill. I'll be back. Medal of Honor recipient Ty M. Carter joined the Army in 1998. This happened in Afghanistan in 2009. Specialist Carter was awakened to an attack by an estimated 300 enemy fighters occupying the high ground on all 4 sides, employing concentrated fire from rifles, rocket-propelled grenades, anti-aircraft machine guns, mortars, and small arms fire. He was trapped. Carter reinforced a forward battle position, ran twice through a 100-yard gauntlet of enemy fire to resupply ammunition, and voluntarily remained there to defend the position. Armed with only his carbine, Carter placed deadly fire on the enemy, beating back the assault force and preventing the position from being overrun. Over the course of several hours, this occurred. With complete disregard for his own safety and in spite of his wounds, he ran through a hail of enemy rocket-propelled grenade and machine gun fire to rescue a critically wounded soldier who had been pinned down in an exposed position. Carter rendered life-extending first aid and carried the soldier to safety. On his own initiative, Carter again maneuvered through enemy fire to check on a fallen soldier and removed the squad's radio, which allowed them to coordinate their evacuation. With teammates providing cover fire, Carter assisted in moving the wounded soldier 100 yards through enemy fire to the aid station before returning to the fight, during which 53 of his fellow soldiers would be killed or wounded. Specialist Carter's heroic action and tactical skill were critical to the defense of the combat zone outdoors Keating, preventing the enemy from capturing the position and saving the lives of his fellow soldiers. He retired in 2014 and lives in California. It's 5:42 in the morning on O'Neill Outside. Now let's talk to, he's been holding on quite a while. Let's talk to Mark. He's calling from Camden County. Good morning, Mark. Are you getting ready for the season?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm on my way to the farm right now.
Good for you.
Nice cool 62 degrees down there.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, man. Hey, a guy called in a little while ago going mule deer hunting and wondering about a strange piece of property. The one piece of advice I give anybody going. In this day and age, we have the convenience of satellite telemetry and go into Google Earth and look that property over thoroughly, and it can go a long ways for you. And you'll see a lot of stuff on Google Earth too, like breaks, bedding areas, all kind of, besides roads, logging roads, things of that nature that'll really help you get an idea of the lay of the land, so to speak.
Great idea. I didn't think of that. That's an excellent recommendation.
Yep. I killed a relatively good buck on some public land in Ohio doing exactly that one time on an area I'd never been to before that was actually publicly hunted, and was able to figure out where I was going to go and scout before I ever even got there.
And that increased your level of confidence immensely.
Well, it wound up rewarding me with about a 4.5-year-old Ohio 8-point.
Oh, my goodness. What did it probably score?
Maybe 135 inches.
Well, that's a big deer. Most people would think a 135 is a 160.
Yes, they would. Yeah. I've got 3 Georgia 130s. Biggest one's 138 and 3/8 hanging in my living room, and that Ohio 135 and some changes laying right there with them. And I've been deer hunting almost 50 years. I've never shot a deer over 145 inches or over 140 inches.
Yeah, well, most people misjudge that. We kill more big ones now than ever because we let them live, right?
Yes, sir. And as far as deer hunting goes, I mean, since about 1985, we're in the good old days of deer hunting.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we are. You bet.
I talk with some of these young bow hunters. I tell them, I say, look, I started bow hunting in 1974. Mm-hmm. We didn't even know what a compound bow was. We had cedar arrows. We used to have to glue our tips on.
But listen to this. Then I got to go. But my good friend Dudley is in Wyoming right now, and about 6 days ago, he took a 6x6 bull elk with a longbow.
That's an accomplishment there.
You bet.
But down here where I live in South Georgia, we have the most educated deer on the planet. If you're an accomplished deer hunter in this part of the state, you can hunt deer anywhere.
That's right. Elk are easier to take, but I got to tell you, a 6x6 with a longbow, that's an accomplishment. Yep. Ark, I got to go, pal.
Have a good day, brother.
You bet. See you later. Glad you called. There we go. Now let's talk. I got 45. I got time for this. Let's talk to Bob. Is calling from Stone Mountain. Good morning, Bob. You're on O'Neill Outside. Welcome.
Good morning, O'Neill. Thanks for taking my call.
Certainly.
I know you through my volunteer work with the Georgia Wildlife Federation and have known you for years, have listened to you for years. My one question would be, do you still have the Georgia State record batting average for high school baseball?
You know, Bob, I think so. Those records are kind of sketchy. And quite frankly, the length of the seasons for high school baseball have been increased dramatically since I did that. And of course, recalling, of course, when that happened, 1961. But to my knowledge, that record is still intact. Yes.
Ross, what was that record, by the way?
I hit for my high school career. My batting average was .567.
567. That is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah,
I was remembering a turkey hunter, Roscoe Reams.
Yes.
And along with people like him and yourself, through my work with the Wildlife Federation, occasionally I get to rub elbows with legends. And O'Neill, you are a legend.
Well,
thank you for everything that you do.
You're very, very kind, and with your compliments, and I value them very, very highly. I tell you, it's and I won't say that record for sure is still intact, but hey, I was proud of it. So of course, and let's look at it this way, Bob. Everything I hit fell in. Okay. Everything I hit fell in. So we had a good season that year of high school. I will always remember it. And we won the state championship that year in high school. And quite frankly, it was because we had 9 sluggers who got together all at once.
O'Neill, you're a great Georgian, and thank you again for taking my call.
You're welcome. You know, one of the highlights of that, then I'll shut up, is we got to play in old Ponce de Leon Park.
Ooh, how about that, you cracker?
You bet.
There you go.
I got to play in Ponce Park. My dad was a baseball fan, and I could remember after a Crackers baseball game, the Atlanta Crackers, we would go out on the field, and as a 6 or 7 year old, I used to run the bases. And then when I was 17, I got to play in the park.
How about that? That's got to be a wonderful memory.
Oh, it was, and then if you want to talk about O'Neill, O'Neill's always willing to talk about it. But the first pitch I ever saw as a player at Ponce de Leon Park, I hit a triple off the right-hand signs. So that was
by the big magnolia tree.
Well, to the right of the magnolia tree. You're right. To the right of the magnolia tree. You know, there were 3 levels of advertising signs in right field. And I hit one off the signs, the lowest one, of course, or it would have been a home run. But I wasn't big enough or strong enough to hit a home run at that age in Ponce Park. But I was to accomplish a baseball average like that, I was outrageously lucky.
Doing something right.
Well, I had a lot of seeing eye singles here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, my friend, glad you called.
Take care, O'Neill.
You bet.
Bye now.
You bet. Thank you for calling and allowing me to brag. All right, now it's time for the radio prize package. I have a prize package here. The rules are you have to be 18 years old to win and not having won a prize package before. And here is the prize package itself. A Bojangles $10 gift card so you can get some biscuits. Swaggerty's Farm free voucher for you to get some Swaggerty's Farm products at a grocery store, a Whitetail Institute DVD about planting food plots, an Angler magazine, 2 cans of Fisher's Choice baits, a Thunder Chicken from Captain Mark Noble, that's a casting float, a Thorogood Boots hat, an Arctic Ice freezer pack, a selection of True Turn tackle, and a full week of free gun range activity at Appalachian Gun. The first caller with the correct answer to the following question wins the radio prize package. Okay, here's the question. Just like the Bulldogs is the mascot of the University of Georgia, just like the Yellow Jackets is the mascot, if you will, for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, what is the mascot for where O'Neill went to college? Oh boy, you got to put your thinking cap on. You won't know the answer. This is the way this is always designed. You will not know the answer unless you listen to the radio show. So what is the mascot of the college that O'Neill graduated from in 1965? And if you've listened to the program, you will know that answer. If we don't get an answer, we'll give 2 radio packages, prize packages, away next week. The telephone numbers for you to call in case, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. I'll give them to you again so you can make the call. 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. It looks like we have some calls, and maybe we can scoop us up an answer. Do we have an answer yet, Corey?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay. People are guessing. I love that. Okay, it's 52 after the hour. We've only got a few minutes more of the O'Neill Outside radio program. It is the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world, and I couldn't accomplish it without sponsors and callers. It will allow me from time to time to rant about a few things like I did today, and I promise the executives of WSB Radio and the SB Nation I will not do that again. And what was my rant, unless you tuned in early enough to hear it? I was talking about global warming and where I stood on that. So I'm zipping it up. I'm not supposed to talk about politics. We have a lot of people that can do that already. Okay, there you are. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. Maybe we'll scoop us up an answer for the radio prize package when I return. All right, we need to hustle up and give away the radio prize package, and the question was, what's the mascot of the university that O'Neill graduated from in 1965? And Lori is calling, and let's get Lori on the telephone. Good morning, Lori. I appreciate you calling. How did you know that answer?
Well, I know that you went to Emory University.
Okay.
And I live in Decatur near Emory, so
Okay.
I just knew that Eagles, that was the mascot. So.
The Emory Eagles, exactly
Yes,
right.
sir.
And you know, do you know, Lori, did you know that in football, Emory is still undefeated?
Right, I know that.
Yes, indeed. We never had a football team.
Right, that
Never
makes
played a
sense.
game. That's right. All right, thank you so much for your participation and for knowing that. It kept me from being an idiot with the question.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
enjoy
very
your
much.
show.
You'll get the prize package in about a week.
All right, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori,
Okay.
indeed. All right, boys, this
Bye-bye.
is all. This is O'Neill, and we're done. It's 48 and a half after the hour. We do this every Saturday morning. I hope you'll join us from time to time. We do have the hunting season coming up. Fall fishing gets good, and it's time to encourage you to take a child fishing. Remember, if you're too busy to go fishing, then you're too busy. That's not an original statement from O'Neill. That was from a pretty smart fellow named Samuel Clemens, otherwise Mark Twain. See there, you learned something again. But we've amended that a little bit. And so, if you're too busy to go fishing or hunting, and take a child along, then you are certainly too busy. Everybody have a nice weekend. Listen to one of my favorite songs, Georgia, and we'll see you next week.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio. O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill Outside.